Welcome, everyone, to Finding Life. We're in episode number 5. My name is Jeff, and we're here to help you find life, enjoy life, and win in life. So episode number 5 is also about wealth creation, and our tip today is on the word diligence. What does diligence mean? Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 24, and then the last half of 27 says this: "The hand of the diligent will rule, and the lazy man will be put to forced labor." The end of verse 27 says, "But diligence is a man's precious possession." Diligence is a precious possession to us. Chapter 10, verses 4 and 5 says this: "He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. He who gathers in summer is a wise son, and he who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame." Chapter 13 and verse 4, this is where I want to launch off from here. "The soul of the lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich." So we see this concept of laziness having to do with nothing and lack, and always being put to forced labor, and then diligence having to do with being made rich, ruling, influence, and that is use the same coin as last time. That is the two sides of the coin, right? That's the two sides of the coin here. So we see this here. The diligent will be made rich. So lazy. Now we can use the coin in a different analogy in this case, because it says here that the lazy person desires and has nothing. The word desire means this: it means to covet, to want, to wish, and to lust. So I see two sides of the coin, even in regards to the result of the lazy. The result of the lazy has this: one side of the coin is to want and to wish, to want and to wish. Just to want and to wish, want and to wish, and want and to wish, but has nothing. Lazy are always just wanting and wishing and wanting and wishing and wanting and wishing and wanting and wishing that things were better, but just nothing changes. And then there's the other side of the coin where they covet and lust. They covet and lust. So it's more than just wanting and wishing. All of a sudden now they're coveting someone else's, they're lusting over someone else's, and they're always fussing and complaining, and they're always angry that someone else got something that they wanted, something that they've been coveting and lusting after. It's more than just a want and a wish. But now all of a sudden there's this meanness, there's this evil attitude and response to those that even have something that they are coveting and lusting after. If I can't have it, you can't have it, and it's wrong and it's wrong and it's wrong and it's wrong. And they fuss and complain. They're always judgmental. But notice here, diligent. So the lazy want and wish and lust and covet. The diligent will be made rich. So I want you to see here that having nothing and made rich. Okay, so that's the two we can all. I don't want to confuse you with using the same coin, but we can see the wanting nothing or the having nothing and being made rich are also two sides of another coin. The result of the lazy and the result of the diligent. Having has nothing and made rich are just two different results of two different ways of thinking, believing, and acting. And so what do we see here? The word lazy means to be slothful, slack, and leaning. Lazy, slothful, slack, and leaning. Means they don't do anything. And they will pretend to do something, but they don't do anything. And they're always leaning. They're always leaning on someone else. If they've got the shovel, they're leaning on the shovel. If they're got an office, they're leaning on the water cooler. They're always leaning on someone else. They're not allowing anyone to. They're never stepping up and taking action, never stepping up and leading and influencing and becoming an addition to the team. No, they're dragging, they're being a weight, they're a burden to the team because they're leaning on the team and not allowing the team to help and uphold the team. They're leaning. The word diligent means this. It's an action word. It means to be sharp. It means to be incisive. It means to be decisive. It means to be alert, determined, and eager. Now, the interesting thing about this is it literally is an action word. So when it talks about incisive and it talks about sharp, it's talking about, for example, a scalpel. But it's not talking about the scalpel in and of itself as a tool, but what the scalpel does in making the incision, okay? It's talking about the big blades that are on a plow, those big round blades that cut into the ground and open the ground up and get it prepared for seed. But it's not talking about the big blade. It's actually talking about the action that the big blade does, and that is it opens up the ground and prepares it for the seed. So it's an action word, a result word, diligent. So Proverbs 21 verse 5 says this, the plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty. So start making plans of actions. Plans of action. Plans of action, and then implement them, and then begin to evaluate, and then make adjustments, and then implement again. But make your plans and start taking action on those plans, and then make adjustments. This is another key to wealth creation. So, we'll be back next time. We'll see you then.